What are the differences between class and object? A class is a template, is a blueprint to make an object. A class, it is just a blueprint. So when you make a class, it doesn't take any memory at runtime. For example, I'm making a class car. You put certain variables, some constant, the functions operating on these data variables or data. So this is a binding also. It is just a template which will give us the possibility of using this template with respect to by means of object. So now this car was the class, but I made a Ford name object, a Toyota name object. So now the object is being created. So class is just a logical entity, just conceptual entity. The real world entity which you are going to deal in your programming, which you are deal in your paradigm of object oriented is object only. A class shows that this is the data, this is the variable. But actual usage comes when you create an object for that class. So this is a real world entity. For that you have to make a class, of course. So as I said, class is a concept like structures, like all these shows you, because it is not a data structure. Class is not a data structure. That is why we are calling it as a just a template or a logical entity or conceptual. But the objects are real. When you create an object, then you start accessing the variables, the data, and working on the data with respect to or with the help of the functions. So it is real. Object is real. Class, if you see here, we have data, we have functions which are operating on this data. So class is binding the data and method together in a single unit. So this is a good way of understanding the encapsulation also. Good way of understanding the abstractions also. But object is just like a variable, like int x, integer x. This is the variable you make normally. So int here is the class which is the user defined say you can entity, and x is a variable of type int. So here we have the object which is of the type of class. So Ford is an object of type car. As I said, class does not occupy space in memory. Object, when we instantiate, when we make an object, then the object will occupy space in memory. Class, just a template, no memory at all. Class, it is a data type, and this is a user defined data type. Please remember that it is just giving a blueprint or a template for object to be made. So you cannot call it as a data structure class. You cannot call it as a any other kind of data type. It is a simple user defined data type. But the object is actual instance of the class. The class, you just have to declare once. Make a class one time, and then you can create millions of objects. These millions of objects can be declared and used as and when required. The objects are only limited by the memory and resources. We use the class keyword to make a class. This is a class, you see, CLASS, class, to make a class. This is a keyword we use. Most of the OOPS languages, they provide this. Some of them does not. So this is the keyword class we use. And what we do in the object, it uses a new keyword to create an object. So new is all about, new gives memory, allocates memory. Like we do malloc, calloc in C. So we use new to create an object. New is by itself is a memory creation. So that is why I am saying when we make an object using new, then only we actually allocate a memory for an object and we start using it. So C++, we use new for memory creation, delete for memory liberation. Okay, class can exist without any object. If you make only class and no objects, it doesn't matter. That is what the abstract classes etc. are. But the objects cannot exist without a class. If you are not making an object, the class, you cannot make an object. So it is not by itself.